Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today, let's have a discussion about faith in ourselves. Yeah, faith in ourselves. We hear a lot in spiritual and religious circles about faith in God, faith in Jesus, faith in Buddha or someone or something. But let's focus this conversation on faith in ourselves because that doesn't come up as a topic for discussion nearly as much as it should. So, as we go through the text of A Course in Miracles, we're on chapter 15, which is entitled The Holy Instant. We've said a good amount about what the holy instant is and is not, and what it involves in recent videos. So if you would like a primer on those, I invite you to take a look at pretty much everything that's been posted for the last week or so here. We're still in that chapter of the text, chapter 15. And well, let's talk about faith in ourselves. We have, when you really think about it, so little faith in ourselves. We don't always think about this. And in fact, as we careen through life, we'd more often than not prefer not to think about it. Well, here you are, led to this conversation by your inner teacher. For what reason? Well, he'll tell you. But it's very, very important, as always, that we take time out of our wild, crazy daily lives to just rest for a minute and let all of the drama and the needlessness, the BS, the excess activity, just just go for a few minutes and really pay attention to what our inner teacher is saying to us. He's always speaking to us. It, if you prefer, is always speaking to us. Are we listening? See, we have so little faith in ourselves. We have a very low opinion of ourselves for the most part. It doesn't matter how accomplished you may be professionally. It doesn't matter how much money you make or how beautiful your relationships are or anything like that. We don't have nearly enough faith in ourselves. And the reason for that is we're unwilling to accept. We're unwilling to look upon, we're unwilling to acknowledge the fact that perfect love is in us. It's in us. So, to the extent that we're not willing to go there with ourselves, so we suffer. And to the extent that you are willing to go there, well, so much closer comes awakening, not just little glimpses of awakening. I mean, the real deal, which, of course, is what's going to transpire for all of us when, I don't know, maybe in the next 5 minutes, maybe not in this lifetime. It will happen for each and every one of us, whether somebody is even interested at all in spirituality in this lifetime, they too will awaken. Why? Because we're actually already awake, perfectly at home in God, and this is a dream, a mad, wild, giant hallucination. I mean, if you saw it as a bad trip, you wouldn't be wrong about that. Of course, it has beautiful moments interspersed in there, but we have so little faith in ourselves because we're unwilling to accept truth just as it is. We're unwilling to accept that perfect love is in us. We're unwilling to accept that we are perfect love. You've always known that. I invite you to go there with yourself. Please. These statements, these short and seemingly obvious statements, are the ones that we most need to hear on the spiritual path. It's these statements that we're prone to doubt because we're unwilling to go there and because we lack faith in ourselves. As we do, we seek for love outside of ourselves. We seek to find love outside of us, in stuff, in objects, in fancy bling, a new suit, new jewelry, something else outside of us, a shiny house or a car, a hot, sexy relationship with your steaming hot lover, a better job, more social status, prestige. We seek for love outside us. Continue. And we're surprised that we still suffer. But don't be surprised. When we seek for love outside us, we're looking in the wrong place and we're looking in the wrong direction. It's inside us. There is nothing outside you. There is only perfect oneness, of which we're all a part, right? Perfect oneness. Not a single one is excluded. It's all inclusive. At some point, it's always interesting to pause the video and let these ideas sink in, and you can resume. I mean, they're repeated for this reason, so that we may contemplate them. The Holy Spirit wants you to hear over and over again until you allow Him to run the show and guide you. So perhaps you'll make that decision today. If you don't, there's the next moment, and the next moment, or the next day, or the day after that. But the future's not here. We can make this decision right now. So I invite you to accept truth just as it is. Another thing that we find very, very difficult to accept is that we're an idea. An idea. We've said, even in this video, that this is a dream, right? That there is only perfect oneness. Well, we're not human bodies in truth. Here in the world, of course, this is what we look like, this thing. We call it a human being, and well, it appears to be us. It's not who you are. You know this, or you would not be interested in spirituality at all. Not a single one of us would. And if we really truly knew and accepted this, this conversation would not be happening. It would certainly not be necessary for us. So because we find that it is, you're not a body. Doesn't mean don't take care of the physical body while you appear to be here. Do that. If you like to go to the gym, keep going. If you are healthy, you like to eat healthy, do that. Keep doing that. We don't neglect this thing, nor do we think it's something that it's not. It's not you. It's a communication device through which you reach every living thing. In other words, your brother. There are people out there that will respond best to the message of the Holy Spirit through you, not through me, not through someone else, but you. You're meant to teach them, to reach them. You don't have to do as I'm doing and turn on a camera and microphone and broadcast worldwide on the internet. That's my own particular directive. I'm directed to do this. You'll be directed, most likely, to do many other things. And that may vary depending on each situation that you find yourself in. So we run into again and again the importance of our relationship with our inner teacher. If you're new or newer to these videos, the Holy Spirit that we keep talking about again and again and, and again is part of our mind. It is not a foreign power. It is not an external power. So, in allowing your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, to guide you, you are not giving your power away. Oh, quite the opposite. You're exercising it. The Holy Spirit is part of our mind. While we're on the subject of ideas that we would prefer in practice not to believe, and we would prefer to hide ourselves from or wall ourselves off from, this is one of these ideas that you're an idea. Because I know I'm a human being, Homo sapiens sapiens. I'm a male, I'm a female, I'm a man, I'm a woman. I live in this country. I have this degree. This is my background. This is my age, my height, my weight. All of these labels are not you. You know this to be true. We all do, or again, we would not be here. That bears repeating. I mean, we actually cannot, when you think about it, repeat that statement often enough. Let's think about ideas being shared. One of the fundamental principles of A Course in Miracles is that to give and to receive are one in truth. We receive what we give. Why? We're giving it to ourselves. Remember, there's nobody out there. There is only perfect oneness. That's an idea that comes up a lot. So when ideas are strengthened, it's very easy for us to see that they're not lessened. Let's say, for example, that your neighbor has great faith in God and asks God, prays to God, and receives things. whatever it is, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is that someone has asked for or not. Just because your neighbor has for something and received, i.e., love, knowing who he or she is, you know who that is. Go there, do that. Son of God, like extends like. Yes. Just because your neighbor has strengthened doesn't mean that you can't. Nothing is diminished in the fact that your neighbor has asked for something. You can do the same thing and also receive the same thing, i.e., God's love. This is not about praying for stuff, by the way. This is an example that's used in chapter 15 of the text for us to help understand the fact that it's very easy for us to see God as an idea. When ideas are shared, they're strengthened. We can all look at people and be inspired and know that we can do the exact same thing, that we can all set the ego aside and experience the peace of God and the love of God. We see our neighbors doing it. We can do it too because God's completely impartial. By the way, he doesn't recognize prayers for stuff. Get me a better paying job, get me a new car. Yeah, no, he did. Well, God doesn't do well paying jobs and new cars. If you really want an effective prayer, ask for help in allowing truth to be just as it is. Do that. When ideas are shared, they're strengthened. So it's easy for us to say, okay, well, God is an idea. I mean, he's reality. So too are we ideas, meaning you can share yourself and not lose. To give and to receive are one in truth, they're the same. When you share the Holy Spirit, you receive the Holy Spirit. That's what's going on right now. To give and to receive are one in truth. Anyone can share an idea, love, and have it strengthen. Your neighbor does it, you can do the same. And we're often inspired because our neighbor does, right? This is only one example. This is a course in mind training. That's where the action is. So if you find yourself doubting or wrestling with any of the ideas that we've expressed here, or that you find anywhere in this course, you're more than welcome to ask questions about them. It's a very interesting process, letting the ego go. We fear that we'll be hurled into oblivion because the ego is our precious identity. It's not our identity, capital I. You know what your identity is. Go there. Again, I invite you. We fear to let the ego go because we think we'll be hurled into oblivion. We think it will be death. It will not. It is life itself. Only love will remain an idea. Who are you? There's no need to spend lifetimes on that question when the answer is right here. If you're new to A Course in Miracles, well, welcome. And of course, if you're a longtime student or an intermediate term student, or you just picked this up yesterday, welcome again. So you can gather very quickly, and perhaps you knew this going in, that this is not about getting stuff. It's not about achieving what we call success in the world as we appear to see it, appear to inhabit all of that. It's not about that. So it's not about getting more stuff. It's not about getting a better career or a hotter, sexier, more photoshopped image on Instagram and TikTok. It's not about anything like that. It's about changing our mind, which is what we most need to do, and we must do if we're to experience the peace of God, which deep down is such a strong attraction to us that we find ourselves sometimes even without really knowing why on the spiritual path, and perhaps you are not sure why you've been drawn to this video. Well, there's always a message in everything from our inner teacher. So it's very important what you've done today in taking the time out to hear this message. So now, as we go forth, you do very well indeed to put it into practice. That's how we best learn, because when we apply these ideas in our daily lives, our experience demonstrates to us that they are true. So, again, I thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel welcome to leave them here. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do. Please go ahead and subscribe and join us. The prompt is here in the corner of your screen. Just click that, hover over that arrow, and you'll be invited to join us. So, several videos appear each week. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to all of you very soon.